Hi there traders, this is Steve Miley for FX Explained and another one of our weekly MacroWatch outlooks for going into the week commencing 21st of October 2019 with a recap of last week's significant geopolitical, macroeconomic and fundamental events that have really shaped financial markets over the past week and what's going to happen coming up for this week. Well, really the big deal last week was the Brexit deal, the new Brexit deal that had been forged the week before between the UK and Irish government, and then that deal progressing to talks with the EU, between the UK and EU last week. The deal agreed last Thursday and then put to the British Parliament this Saturday. Super Saturday it was billed as, but it didn't really end up being Super Saturday. The let-win amendment in here staving off any kind of meaningful vote. Boris Johnson having to send a letter to the EU asking for a Brexit extension, and all of that clouding things still, even though we've had that very positive outcome of a breakthrough Brexit deal. It did see the pound surge higher in here. You see the pound rallying up. It had already rallied really from 122 up to 127, close now up to 130 against the US dollar back on Friday, but we're going to wait and see how we open up on Monday morning. Potentially a dipping lower in here after the slight disappointment from the not so super Saturday. Elsewhere, we've had some mixed soundings on the US-China trade negotiations. The Phase 1 trade deal agreed the previous week still needs much work to be done, and the US and China have both indicated that, with the US indicating that tariffs could be imposed if the new deal is not finalised. This Phase 1 deal is not finalised by December. Also in the US, we're seeing an increasing amount of tension around the inquiry into the impeachment of US President Trump. At the moment, that's not really impacting too negatively on financial markets, but it does have the scope to have a significant negative impact, and we will have to monitor this with growing concern as we go into October and through into year end. On the global stage, the escalation in the conflict on the Syria-Turkish border has actually ended up with a ceasefire, a very tentative ceasefire as we moved into the second half of the week. But there are mounting risks for global financial markets that this conflict could expand into a more substantial diplomatic event. And then finally, talking about diplomatic events, the US Congress in the process of passing the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act, which is expected to pass through the Senate soon, having already passed through the House of Representatives. China has condemned this ruling as interference in China's internal affairs and have indicated countermeasures should the bill pass. So all of this is going to weigh on markets as we go into the next week. We've got the uncertainty around the Brexit deal. We have the US-China trade deal still ongoing. We have the Trump potential impeachment with the ongoing inquiry, Syria, Turkey, and this whole the ongoing human rights movement in Hong Kong and the US reaction to that. Looking at the data front in here, going into Monday, we have the PBOC, the People's Bank of China interest rate decision Monday. Tuesday is a Japanese holiday, and we get Canadian retail sales. Wednesday is the German 10-year bond auction. Probably the key event of the week from a data standpoint is the market PMI data, but we also get the ECB interest rate decision along with US capital goods on Thursday, and on Friday we get the German IFO survey. This has been Steve Miley, the market chartist, on behalf of FX Explained, with another one of our regular macro watches. Stay tuned for next week's macro watch, and until then, have a great trading week. So traders, don't forget to catch us on the next FX Explained Macro Watch and all the great content on fxexplained.co.uk.